All right, this quick little CDL Platinum video was inspired by Demetrius, actually, and Tony, no, and all our brand new drivers, especially the ones that really have never been in the entertainment industry before, and we're trying to teach you guys and give you some skill sets. So Tony and I are going to do just a quick little video on basic stuff like plugging in shore power, learning to see on the generator what your voltage is, and just little minor little things. This will be an ongoing video series, but Zip, Zap, and Zag will be helping you out. Cheers. All right, so for you new guys and ladies, first things first, when the bus pulls in, and even if you're a co-driver, you can help out, know where your shore cord is, because sometimes the shore power is over here in the back by the rear wheels, and then sometimes she is up front where D is, and most of the time your shore cord will be in with the generator, which is the third bay back on a Pioneer Coach bus. Usually stays in a little milk carton that you see over here. So in your pre-trip inspection, you should know where your shore cord is and then how to properly set it up to your cord. So on something like this, it's basically a twist. To unhook it would be a counterclock twist. To hook it in would be a clockwise twist, and she locks in. And most of the time she'll have the 4-prong plugs in a shore cord position where you plug it in. Sometimes it's a pigtail, which means the wires are sticking out, and in that case, if it's a pigtail, that's what the female portion of the plug looks like. If it's a pigtail, you'll have to have the electrician at the venue hook it up, and just make sure that the power is on. Here's how we make sure the power is on. What were you going to say, Tony?
So the biggest thing is when you unplug and plug into the coach, never have the wire hot when you turn it in, because if there's a wire broken and you twist it, you're going to arc it. So make sure you plug it in here first. So if you're hooking up for the first time, you hook it up to the bus, then you go to the plug and plug it into the plug.
Bingo.
To disconnect, unplug the plug, and then disconnect the cord.
Bingo. All right, so some buses will have the LED view meters. In this case, this bus, you have to use the blue C for checking your voltage that's coming in. It also has the fresh and black. Make sure your inverter is on and inverting, which would be this. Charge and inverting green lights, as you can see. And these would be for the generator if we were running the generator, just basically for checking oil and water temp. Start on our buses, which is the great thing, is it flips over automatic. There's no flip switch, ship to shore switch like on older buses. So you might have an older bus that has a ship to shore flip switch down there where you change that, but on Pioneer Coach buses you don't have to worry about that.
The other thing also, when you get to a venue, is to take a multimeter and plug, take your multimeter to plug to make sure that you are hooking up to the 110. And the, 110 on each leg, giving you the 240.
Needs at least 50 amps, not
50 amps,
not a
breaker.
30. If it's a 30, definitely do not plug in, and we'll basically blow that breaker every time. So it has to be 50 amp.
50 amp
110. Yep. Just say. So on the older coaches, you'll have the blocks up here.
The red LEDs
in front of the driver. I'll try and find an old coach so we can see that. On this bus in particular, which is an X5000 series, it's over the left shoulder of the driver.
The 3 boxes.
So this is on one of the older coaches where it's up front. I kind of actually liked it. I got used to it because you could just look up instead of it being on your shoulder side. Right here are where you would find the readings of your voltage for your batteries. We don't use Trackstar anymore, but there is the inverter system. And then, of course, your black water, fresh water tank, and the generator start switch. All right, so we've plugged in the shore power. We're parked at the venue. We leveled the bus, and there's where our leveling happens here. Right now, this bus isn't completely level because this bubble should be in the middle. But you do the best you can to get it as level as you can. Engine has to be running, so the compressors are going. All right, one thing I forgot to mention, especially if you're on a slide and you're a new driver, once you park the bus up and the motor is still running, and I would probably do the leveling first. Level it out, and then when you put out that front slide, so we're going to try and put out this front slide for your passengers to be comfortable. Most of ours are right here, so there's an in and out switch. Bus has to be running. Most important thing is to make sure you leave
window down.
The window or the door. Usually if you're sitting here, you would just lower the window. And the reason you're doing this is because when you're opening this, it's going to create a pressure lock. So say I'm going to go out. You do this when you go in too. So I'm holding this, and it might take a little bit. I'll hear it. Now I can hear it moving, and that slide is going out. Obviously, double check that you're not going to bump into anything when you're doing it, and you're not close to trees. Make sure those windows are open because it could blow the seal on them. Now to bring it in, make sure the windows are open and you bring it back in. And this has to do with pressure and the seals on there. And that's why we would leave the windows open. You'll hear it lock, you'll be able to ready to go. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
And don't always trust the bubble level. Use your own judgment. When you're sitting in the seat, you can tell if the bus is level. If not, step out in front of the bus and look at your bumper, see if it's level or if it's leaning one way or the other, and adjust it.
There you go. So we've finished, bus is level. Now we tidy up. Coffee maker, we make sure everything's clean. At least in the front lounge, if people are sleeping, we let them sleep. Some buses have carpets through the galley portion, some don't. Depends. So usually we wait until everyone's up before we start sweeping, vacuuming, or doing any sort of things like that. I used to sneak to the back while they were sleeping and clean up the rear lounge because you can close the door and at least keep that clean. And if everyone's up, a lot of times I would at least fluff and fold. I would just fold the comforters and make sure the pillows were puffed up and she was kind of clean. If they're sleeping, you can still clean the bathroom. I highly recommend rookies, veterans, etc. Anytime you have to go in the restroom, to spray it and wipe it down every time you're in there. Keeps it real clean. So that's what we would do. And then your last thing, bus is level, kind of tidied and clean. Put whatever you had to in the garbage. Our garbage on most buses is a drop bin down here into a 35-gallon drum. I'll show you the bay. So when we finish, we tidied up. Everything's nicely wiped down. If they have some radios, as a courtesy, a driver should take the radios and make sure they're all in the proper charging stations for the crew that you're hauling. Your driver area should always be clean, co-drivers and veteran drivers, full-time, etc. All right, so then we open the bays. This one has a button over here on the side, or you use the door code +3. Usually the second bay back on the passenger side is where you'll find the large garbage bin. This is part of your duty. Even if you're a co-driver and you come out, you parked and your main guy's sleeping, at least come to that second bay, open it up, take out the garbage, and throw it away and put it in a clean and empty one. When you come back, you should do the same thing, because if they're living on the bus, that thing's probably full. The other thing, if you're pulling it out, at least spray and wipe down that compartment, the drop box, because it can get nasty. And yes, that's part of your duties, so make sure that's done. Right, Smitty?
That's right. You want like a good example what a clean trash bay looks like and a dirty one. You should go check out that bus.
Okay. So this is an example of, there wasn't a trash bag put back in here. All the garbage was thrown in without a trash bag. The trash area is not wiped down. So as you can see, it's dirty. And this is not how we keep a bus. If you have a bus, you're supposed to wipe this down. Anytime you pull the trash out, you should be wiping this down. And when you pull the trash out, you should replace it with another bag, always.
And if you got the wrong bags, go get the right ones.
Yes. Do you want in the video too?
I'm good.
Okay, here we go.
One thing important is to check the parts bin to make sure you have all your belts, water filters. You got extra spare hoses, water pump for your coach.
And this goes for all of you.
We have belt tensioners and extra pulleys. So this needs to be checked to make sure you get everything, and if it's not, to replenish it.
Yep.
And when you
when
you use a belt or something, put it on your maintenance list immediately.
Oh, that's important.
Most definitely have.
That's
this.
important. Yep.
This is a new style. Not sure if I like it, but
All right, and this goes for rookies, veterans, and newbies, even co-drivers. You should know what is on and off your bus, etc., and check the parts always.
this does
Discount double check.
Usually we have a parts list. Lewis usually has that for all the pieces that are supposed to be in there, like a door striker,
Yep.
extra headlight bulbs, oil sensor, and all that stuff. So they need to make out a new sheet
Yep.
to keep
With that.
with the box
Yep.
and parts.
Especially if you're slip seating.
Yeah, make sure if you use a part, put it on your punch list that you used it so they can replace
Yes.
it.
Immediately.
Google punch log and do it right away, because otherwise you'll forget.
Yeah, do it before you come in
Yeah.
so they'll have one ready for you.
All right, for you newbies, knowing how to open your engine compartment, on the side door is this little switch there that locks. There's the mechanism, and you open up this part, and there is a handle. Here's the handle right down here, and you pull the handle, you'll open the door. Of course, that's your large compressor and your batteries. Opening up the door so that you can get to the motor, check your coolant levels, check your belts and pulleys, and make sure shorn isn't stuck in your engine compartment. This is a newer coach where the engine compartment opens up and goes up instead of out. And same idea of opening the side compartment, lifting up, and then lifting up again. So the yellow levers lift up. Now you can get back there, check your belts, check your coolant levels, check your oil level, and make sure there's not a mechanic stuck in between the battery and the motor.
That's the trunk buddy. That's the trunk buddy.
Oh, that's your trunk buddy? So if you ever wondered what the underneath of your coach looks like, here's a little walkthrough, doing some underglow here. Hopefully they don't let it down on top of my head. They're laughing at me. And we'll walk through this way now, just so you have an idea of what's underneath your coach, and knowing your clearance to make sure you don't get stuck anywhere. So stay tuned. We'll do some more of these videos as I get inspired and think of things. And if you have any suggestions, throw them out there in the comments, and hopefully I can address them. Anyways, peace out. CDL Platinum. Let's go, baby.